Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Friday, November 7th, 2025. I'm your presenter, Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Two bills were passed in the Nevis Island Assembly on Thursday, November 6th. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley, moved the Nevis Limited Liability Company Ordinance Amendment Bill 2025.
We are saying, as a responsible financial services center, that it is necessary that we have information on the various entities established in Nevis. Who owns them? Who directs them? How they work? Are there any changes? That is a given. Where we are parting company with some is to say that that information should be publicly available. We say no to that. The ordinance is amended in section 92 by deleting paragraph E in its entirety and replacing it as follows. E, a new E that is, a consent and agreement by the limited liability company that it may be served with process in Nevis in any legal action arising out of actions or omissions occurring prior to its departure from Nevis, which agreement shall include the appointment of its registered agent as the agent to accept such service of process, and shall set forth an address to which a copy of such process shall be forwarded by registered mail. And so the registered agents, again, Madam President, can now charge for that service. They have another avenue that they can create fees, because any company that is leaving the jurisdiction must now have in place a mechanism to allow them to be served within the jurisdiction in accordance with the law.
He also moved the Nevis Business Corporation Ordinance Amendment Bill 2025.
This particular bit of legislation seeks, as I said, to really go where we have been in terms of the previous bit of legislation, and it simply lends some strength to the level of documentation that is required to be maintained by the registered agent. It goes on similarly to the legislation prior at section to say that in relation to the amendment of section 130, that any corporation that is leaving the jurisdiction, transferring out, that they must have an arrangement where any legal action service process would be on the registered agent. Again, we're shifting the burden from the registrar of companies to the registered agent. I don't think I need to belabor the point any further, because I think the arguments are the same. What I will say, however, Madam President, for purposes of the House and for the public, that all of the efforts that we're making here together are intended to promote this very important industry.
Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley. In more local news,
to be here, I'm heartened by what the Methodist Church has put together here this morning, and so I'm happy to come here to represent the government as we stand together as a community against crime and violence.
Government officials are condemning recent shooting incidents in the St. James Parish, including one in the vicinity of the Condemning preschool. Minister of Education, the Honourable Troy Liburd, recently participated in a march and rally coordinated by the Condemning Methodist Church in an effort to urge the community to take a stand against crime and violence.
I think it was certainly reprehensible that persons or an individual could think to come to a preschool where we have young children whose lives would have been affected in such a way for the rest of their lives, having witnessed such a thing. I love the way that we are able to live so freely here on our island. But it only takes a few bad actors to bring all of the hard work that we are trying to put in down to nothing. The government tries a lot, but the government cannot do it on its own. Our teachers in our schools, they work hard every day. but they can't do it on their own. They need the support of the parents, they need the support of our community. And so it is important that we all come together to ensure that we protect ourselves today from this crime and violence, and that we protect our young ones, the future generations of Nevisians, from going down the wrong path.
Federal Parliamentary Representative for St. James Parish, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, also marched in solidarity with the church and community.
I want us briefly to wrap our head around those two incidents that took place in recent times. I believe the first one was on the 29th of July, close to the Condemning Church, and of course the second incident was right here at the Condemning Preschool. But what is most important is the fact that the most vulnerable among us were affected with these two incidents. But I'm beseeching those who have moved into the community, embrace this community. Understand we are a community of love, a community of respect, a community that holds family values near and dear to us. Get on the right path and get on that path that we are seeking to build here on the island of Nevis and in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is to build harmonious communities where everyone can excel, the young, the not so young, and the old can excel and have a prosperous life here in this federation.
The Honorable Alexis Jeffers also commended the Methodist Church community for the initiative. Still to come.
I want to encourage all you folks out there in the general public, those of you who are there on Sunday, to come back. And when you come back, bring 2 other people.
The details after this break.
The people of Nevis have long remained connected to the gifts nature has bestowed. As an ambassador of this majestic island, it is my duty to encourage my people to nurture, preserve, and protect what makes us unique as a people and strong as a country.
This one is dedicated to my lovely little island.
Welcome back. The Nevis Island Administration's Ministry of Health and Social Empowerment invites eligible persons to apply for the post of counselor. The individual will be responsible for providing diagnostic assessments, therapy, counseling, and support services for adults, adolescents, children, and families experiencing mental health issues, communication challenges, and family conflict, or seeking a space where he or she can engage in self-examination for personal growth. The job requirements include a master's degree in mental health counseling or psychology or other relevant field, at least 3 years of experience in counseling or mental health services, and being skilled at reporting, including analysis, evaluation, recommendation, and implementation. Applicants must forward their letters of interest, curriculum vitae, certificates of qualifications, and a completed employment application form by November 14th, 2025 to Shalisa Martin Clark, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Nevis Island Administration, Administration Building, Charlestown, or send an email to shalisa.martin@niagovkn.com and bin.health@niagovkn.com. For more information, call 469-5521 extension 6491 or 6492. The Honorable Troy Lambert is commending the Departments of Sports and Education as well as the schools for the successful hosting of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Bank Limited Primary School Football Tournament. Lambert gave the commendations during his statement as Minister of Education and Sports at a sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly on Thursday, November 6th.
The Joycelyn Liebert Primary School, they went undefeated throughout the entire season and topped the table with 21 points. for the very first time, Madam President, we had the Montezuma Primary School getting a win. They have played in the tournament for several years, and this is the first year that they have gotten a win, Madam President. So I think that shows that they are improving. So every single team that took part in the tournament won at least one game this season. And I think that is cause for us to be happy.
Minister Liebert also spoke about the quality of this year's tournament and gave an overview.
There was only a 5-point difference between first place and sixth place, Madam President. So the tournament was very competitive all around. I want to highlight our top goal scorer, Mr. Jamali Kelly, who had 13 goals. Our best offense and defense was the Joycelyn Liebert Primary. And they scored 25 goals overall and only conceded 3 goals throughout the entire tournament. I want to register our thanks to the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank for their support, and also the general public for coming out in their numbers, Madam President.
The Minister of Sports is encouraging the public to support the finals of the competition on Sunday, November 9th at the El Camino T. Willett Park.
The first game, we will have the third place game. That will be the Charlestown Primary School versus the Ivor Walters Primary School. And then in the big final match, we will have the Joycelyn Liebert Primary School, our #1 seed, coming up against the defending champions, the St. Thomas's Primary School. So I want to encourage all you folks out there in the general public, those of you who are there on Sunday, to come back. And when you come back, bring 2 other people with you. Bring people, let us come out and support our young student athletes, Madam President. So that's the big primary school football tournament, finals on Sunday. I want to encourage everybody to definitely come out and support.
The finals of the competition will begin at 5 p.m. The cost for adults is $5. Children are free of cost. And that's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.